Audio Jungle.
News. South Africa is facing a crisis and needs our help. Sure, South Africa is a country rich in its history and has taken progressive action to overcome obstacles via social reform. But the nation continues to struggle with major issues regarding the health and well-being of its citizens. This is where our organization Heroes of South Africa steps in. Our mission is to provide immediate medical relief via introduction of medications, providing of clean water resources, and education to those who lack access. One of the greatest health risks South Africa faces is the prevalence of HIV/AIDS swarming through the nation. In fact, South Africa ranks number 2 in the world for highest HIV/AIDS-related deaths and number 1 in the world for the greatest amount of people living with the disease. Here's Jess to provide more insight on the matter.
South Africa has the biggest and most high-profile HIV epidemic in the world, with an estimated 7 million people living with HIV in 2015. Here is a video of an HIV patient talking about HIV.
I didn't understand clearly about issues of side effects, so I just thought it's the treatment that is making me worse. And I had to stop it and try something else, like going to traditional healers with the hope that maybe there might be something different from there. At the end of the day, when they see that the things of traditional healers are not helping, then they brought me back here.
How bad were things at that point when you came back here?
Very bad, very bad. I remember one point where I told my mom, we were far away from home. I told her that, can we please go back home so I can die peacefully at home? Because I could see that I've reached at that point.
So you came here, and the second time around, you adhered to the regimen.
Yeah.
And you were disciplined about taking the medicines.
Yeah.
And look at you now.
Yeah, things just happened, and it went on like that, and I recovered.
Antiretroviral treatment is available and medications are given to patients. Our organization will provide funds towards those treatments and medications. We would also support the Center for the AIDS Program of Research in South Africa, which is a comprehensive program of HIV prevention, treatment, care, and support.
Thanks, Jess. Now here's Shane to discuss South Africa's water crisis.
About 9.7 million people living in South Africa lack access to an adequate water supply. Another 16 million are without proper sanitation services. Research shows that of every 5 children in the developing country that die a year, 1 will be caused by a water-related disease. Right now, streams and ponds serve as South Africa's main source for water. Water found in these areas are typically filled with diseases that have the power to negatively affect individuals and the community. Every day, individuals are faced with the challenge of suffering from dehydration or becoming sick from the contaminated water they drink. On the other hand, communities are equally affected, because without water, crops will not grow and food becomes scarce. Ultimately, risks of drinking water are just as great as drinking no water at all. So what can the Heroes of South Africa do to create a solution? Our proposal is quite simple, and it includes an extensive amount of wells, dams, and other rain catchment systems across South Africa. We hope our plan will help provide a sufficient enough source of drinking water that will allow individuals and the community to thrive as a whole.
Thank you, Shane. Lastly, we'll have a word from Jillian to discuss South Africa's current standpoint on education.
Surprisingly, South Africa spends 2.3% of its government expenditure on primary institutions, compared to the United States, who spend only 1.6% of its government expenditure on primary institutions. Even more surprising is South Africa's enrollment rate in primary institutions of 88.1%. It seems counterintuitive that South Africa's academic performance levels are extremely low compared to its neighboring countries, who spend a significantly smaller portion of their government expenditure on education. Why is this? A combination of poor teaching, irregular attendance of both students and teachers, pregnancy, and lack of supplies. Our group, however, wishes to eliminate these obstructions to high academic performance. A simple solution to lack of school supplies seems to be distribution of necessary resources, such as running water, books, and technology to schools in need. Furthermore, we plan to decrease the amount of teen pregnancies and therefore increase attendance by implementing sex education as a part of the curriculum. The programs would teach about contraception and HIV prevention. Finally, our group wishes to improve the quality of teaching by creating more extensive training for instructors and providing monetary incentives for better performing instructors.
So exactly how much does our organization plan to allocate to these different sectors? Well, $200 million alone will be dedicated to combat the health aspect. Likewise, another $200 million will be used to provide adequate water resources throughout the country in order to mitigate health issues stemming from the contaminated water. Lastly, our greatest allocation of money is to go towards education, as lack of sufficient education is the overarching hindrance to a nation's developmental success. We cannot get our project started without awareness, so $100 million alone will be dedicated to advertising our organization. Support the heroes of South Africa today to support the lives of those millions deserving a happy and healthy life. Help us make a change.